Intro video.
Yay!
Intro video. How was the level of the intro video? Did it need to come down at all?
It was good.
Was good?
No, they were just right. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you could hear that. Well, I don't know. I thought maybe the music was a little low. Maybe could have turned the music up a little bit. But the volume of the talking was perfect.
Well, yeah, it's the same volume as normal.
Okay.
I'll turn the music up just a little. For all those people we're listening to music right now, land. Welcome. Yep. Welcome.
What episode did I say we're doing right now?
Welcome. I don't remember. I've lost track of numbers.
I'll go look at the titles.
I turned this computer on when I texted you earlier, so.
Okay.
I ain't got nothing going. Nothing.
33.
Nothing. I haven't created the folder for today. Nothing. Why did you type
Miranda?
That? Okay.
Miranda on Facebook beat me to it to tell me the season and episode number. Hey, Biggs. Yep. Biggs on Twitch. We're doing a thing where we talk during the 5-minute countdown now. So you should be able to hear us.
It was my idea.
Chatter. We're going to chatter.
I'll give you some chatter. Chatter. See?
H. Puff Phoenix says, "Oh, interesting."
Ooh. Are we staying up super late tonight and watching things? Or are you?
I don't know.
Are you going to be watching?
It's Father's Day.
Or are you going to be watching things with your wife?
I'm probably going to be spending time with my wife since it's Father's Day. So.
But it's the first episode of season 5.
I know. 5? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we all came home and crashed. Like, hardcore. Yeah, so come with your deep theological questions. Bring them! What is she talking about the bed's been calling? She has already been in the bed that was calling her name. She slept on the way down here.
Okay, so like I was saying before we started the countdown, this Terra Genesis game, my temperature is still too hot. I'm trying to get my temperature down to terraforming the moon, and that's creating more water, but I still need to get my temperature down more, but then I've got too much water. It's crazy. And then the game got complicated. It was supposed to be I can just leave it running while I go do other stuff. But then all of the little plant life that I created on the planet all died off every time I walked away. So I gotta pause the game when I walk away now, or the whole planet just goes all out of whack.
Hello at the best 1317. Who appears to be one of my cousins.
The best 1317. Like McAllen 1317?
I don't know. There is no calendar like 1317.
McAllen.
What is that?
It's a scotch.
You don't even drink. How do you even know that?
I collect useless information in my brain.
That's true. 40 seconds, by the way.
40-second buff.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Oh. The best 1317 on Twitch says it's our friend Matt.
But why does it say this is cousin?
7 seconds.
Maybe
it's your cousin Matt.
5
Do you have a cousin Matt?
I have two cousin Matts. Oh, yeah, that's my cousin Matt. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, there. I pushed the right button. Bam.
All right. Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 33 of the Breed Manifesto. Tonight we are hanging out. We're answering questions. We are getting into deep theological discussions, maybe.
About boogers.
If that happens, if that comes up, it may not. It's Father's Day. Nooms is a father. I'm a father. We're kind of taking it easy. Nooms had a family reunion this week, and I set up all of my lovely workspace with my new desk and my new shelves that my wife got me for my Father's Day present. And I redid my rug so it's not all,
And you hung the free hugs where everyone can actually see them. That's the T-shirt we wear.
And I hug
when we do ministry.
The T-shirt. Yeah, this is a T-shirt we've been wearing when we do ministry. We're gonna design a new one for the next Pride that we actually have.
Yeah.
Because that's 2 prides in a row that they canceled. And so, yeah, this is a shirt. I cut up my shirt and mounted it on a canvas and hung it. And then, I don't know if you can see this. This is our determination letter from the IRS.
Yep.
That makes our church a church in the eyes of the government.
Yeah, it was fun. The family reunion was real good. It was enjoyable. Saw family. Some we like, some we don't like. Family's family. Who knows? It was very interesting, some of the conversations I had. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. Is the Dallas Pride canceled? Biggs is asking.
Dallas Pride is canceled. What they're doing instead is they're just having a concert. They're having this one concert where everyone will be social distancing and wearing masks, and that's all they're doing. There's no vendors. There's no, any opportunity for any of that. And then hopefully next year we'll be able to have a face-to-face Pride event where we can go out and spread the love of God and let people know that we love them.
Unless you come to Nashville in September.
Is Nashville having their Pride in September?
Yep.
Well, I mean, you didn't send me any information, so we wouldn't have a booth. But
we can still go.
You could send me information, and we could get a booth. Probably still.
I'm not sure how we would work a booth because we can't. You'd have to bring everything, and that'd be really complicated.
Well, I'm sure you have academies there, and we could just go get a 10 by 10 foot. There's like $100 for one of those. So,
H Puff Phoenix will be sending you all the Pride information.
H Puff Phoenix is gonna send me the.
Whether you come or not, I'm going. So
yeah,
it's really. Either way, you really should probably send me some cards. I'm gonna need some of those. Either way, because I'm going.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, that's one of the things that's in, my heart, and it's in the heart of this ministry to reach out. And it started with the Holy Spirit really bringing to my attention the suicide numbers.
Yep.
For that demographic, and really just kind of blossomed from there. My earlier in life, I was homophobic for sure. Didn't want to be in ministry to that community, that demographic. Didn't want anything to do with it.
Several demographics actually, but that one also.
Right. And then as time has gone by,
yep.
The Lord's worked on my heart, and I've gone through this transformation in knowing, that the Lord wants me to be doing ministry in this area, and so that's what we've done. We've reached out and we've made ourselves available, and and gone to Pride twice in Dallas
Yep.
and done ministry because I mean we walk what we talk and we preach love and so we love. Um,
And
which
some of us
does
better
it
than others.
yeah does it irk you as much as it does me that people post videos about um, Christians being anti-LGBT or sermons where they preach just stupid stuff about being anti-LGBT,
Hmm.
and in the number one comment is "Ain't no hate like Christian love." Does that bug you as much as it bugs me?
Um,
Because I'm like,
yes.
that's not love, and
Yeah.
it hurts my heart
Yeah.
that you've been hurt
Yeah.
by
And
Christians who claim to love. It
yeah.
just
And
it
that's the big
irks
thing
me
about
so
it.
much.
It's not necessarily just the fact of, oh, these people are so stupid. It's the fact that the commenters have been so hurt. We have
Yeah, and that's what
sadly,
irks me
we've
is
sadly
that they
driven.
have a
Yep.
right to say that.
Yep. I did not see real Christians forgive like Jesus, but that's a good one. Um, yeah, like
H
Heather
Puff
said,
Phoenix.
like
Yeah,
like H.
she's had
Phoenix said.
don't do that. Yeah, she's had her own experiences in this area lately,
Yep.
and so she can relate to that comment. And that's what honestly irks me is that it's a genuinely justified comment.
Yep.
And I'm like, I want to hug you, and I want to let you know that we're not all like that.
Hmm.
Some of us actually love, um, and aren't hung up on our own deficiencies too much to see past our theology to actually love you and to question: is my theology actually accurately biblical? Or have I learned things out of context and
Yep.
need to put them back into biblical context?
Yeah, and that's a
Um,
big one. A big one is so many people, and they don't look at the aspect of the Berean lifestyle. As Paul teaches, be like the Bereans because they actually test what they hear
yeah.
and take it back to the Bible. And if it doesn't line up with the Bible, they say, okay, that's
Well,
not right.
let's be honest. He didn't say Bible.
Well,
He said
yes,
scriptures.
he said scriptures.
We
Yes.
don't want to. I don't want to drop in some confusion in
Yeah.
anyone that
No,
might be
you're
listening
correct.
to
You're
this
correct.
and go, "Wait, Paul said Bible? Paul
Yeah.
said the word Bible?
That'd be really weird.
It would be really weird."
Since it didn't exist yet. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's an English word, so it'd be really, really weird.
it
Um,
would be really, really weird. Yeah.
no, actually, what is the root of Bible?
It's biblio. It's a Latin word.
So it's Latin. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Latin word that it literally just means book, pretty much. But in this case, we would say the book. You looking it up? You googling it?
Yeah. It's
The
actually
etymology
it
of the
is
word
from
Bible.
Greek,
Oh, is it
meaning
Greek?
the books.
Books,
Yeah.
plural. Gotcha.
It had the literal meaning of scroll. So.
Miranda on Facebook, I'm confused by your question. You put in Biggle. What do you mean by Biggle? Bigle. Did you mean Bible? Bible?
Yes, that's the book for me. I
I
stand
stand
on.
upon the word of God. Why would you stand on the Bible? That's just rude.
Plus, you're gonna tear the pages because they're always leather, and it's
Yeah,
gonna
you shouldn't be
slide.
standing on books. That's not good for books.
Mm-mm. Now, there's something that I always have an issue with. I love books. Anyone who knows me very well knows I love books. I have boxes of books in the house right now because I still haven't built all of the bookshelves necessary to hold everything in this house. So, I can't bring myself to write in books. Um, so I always struggle with that when people are like, I write in my Bible, and I always go, and not because there's anything. It's not like the Bible is special. You shouldn't write in it. That's not the reason. It's just like, why'd you write in a book? you know, I
To
have
you, books
workbooks.
are sacrosanct. They're
I have
holy
workbooks.
books. Period.
Yeah, I have workbooks that have sheets of paper in them because certain workbooks I was like, this doesn't feel like a workbook, so I'm not writing in it. Um, I've gotten
What
over
did you
the
do with the Easter devotional that I made that one year? Did you not write in that?
no,
Really?
it's on a bookshelf.
Okay. Okay.
Now there are some books I have written in um over the years. Some I don't really have a problem with, and I don't really know why. Um,
Mm.
but some just don't feel like they should be written in. If the pages don't feel right, I won't write in it.
Mm.
Um,
I definitely write in my Bible. I'll write in any book. I
oh,
don't
I know.
care.
Yeah.
But mainly my Bible, I write when I read something and I feel like I've received Holy Spirit inspiration.
Mhm.
I'll write it in the margin. You know,
Mhm.
da 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 da. And then if I come back across that and I'm like, oh, I felt like this before. If I feel like, well, that was definitely my ego, that was definitely my pride, that was definitely my flesh, whatever, I'll just mark it out. If my spirit still confirms that that's accurate,
Mhm.
then I'll leave it. And that's that's one of the things that I do. And I mean, you can look at this is the Bible I use most often. You don't really see much
Right.
because that doesn't happen all the time. It happens, infrequently, but it does happen.
Yeah, I've
So
got notebooks, just tons of
now
notebooks.
the one Bible I won't write in is my copy of the Geneva Bible, the 1599 Geneva Bible, the version that the Pilgrims brought with them on the Mayflower.
Mm.
Um, I'll highlight in this Bible, but I don't write in this Bible. And I love this translation because it isn't influenced by the King James in its translation. This was translated before the King James was.
Mm.
And the King James translation was what kicked off the King James translation party, as it were, was that King James was upset that people were using this Bible instead of something that he had signed off on. And
Mm.
so that was the final straw and why he started having his own Bible translated. And so I love this translation. I don't read from it all the time, but I do reference it if I find a discrepancy between the King James and my CSB, and then my going back to the Greek or the Hebrew doesn't define it well enough for me. I'll reference my Geneva to see, well, what am I talking about? What am I looking at? What was King James the king of? King James was the king of England.
Which, with the Church of England, also makes him the head of the church, correct?
Right. Which is a completely different issue. He founded the Church of England before he started his translation work because he was upset at the Catholic Church for overriding his laws and his authority, um, and the church was like, well, we have the authority of God because we're the church. And he was like, but I have the authority of God because I'm the king. And they were like, well, church trumps king. And he was like, okay, I'll just declare myself the Church of England and me the head of the church. And so now I'm the church.
James became king of Scotland
Oh, you know what?
in.
Maybe it was Henry that made the king of the Church of England.
Yeah, I think
Big
it's
said he
Henry
thought
that
that
did
was
the.
Henry. You may be right.
Um, James was the king of Scotland from 1567 to 1625, and the king of England from 1603 to 1625.
There you go. I
Um,
think you're right. I think it was Henry. I think my brain lumped it into James, but that's not right. It is Henry. But brains are like that. Memory is
the
like that sometimes.
the Church of England was founded in 1534.
So
Um,
definitely
definitely before
not
him.
James.
Um,
It was more than Big says because he could not divorce his wife. And a lot of historians paint it that way. But that was literally only about this much of it.
Henry the Eighth
That wasn't the whole story.
in 1534. Uh, and of course, this says because of his annulment to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so then he then pulled it to the Church of England. Um, so
Henry took a lot of women's heads. He one of his wives, he beheaded her because she gave birth to a daughter instead of a son. Um, which is like, give her another chance, bro.
um, King James started the project in 1604. And the first published was of course 1611.
Yep. And the Geneva Bible was published in 1599.
Yeah. And it was this, a new version would help consolidate political power, is what historians believe.
Right. Now, granted, the Geneva Bible was not in the language that it is in right now, and neither was the King James Bible. But both the King James Bible and the Geneva Bible were written in Old English.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to know what Old English looks like, because it's really hard to find a copy of the Bible in Old English, go look for a copy of the Canterbury Tales in Old English. And that'll give you an idea of what English was like in the time of King James.
I've seen some, in museums and stuff, copies of it, and they'll have it open, and it's to me, especially being dyslexic, it's unreadable.
It is unreadable. It really is.
The only thing I can paint it as close to is it's like reading when someone tries to write how Creole people sound.
Right. It's pretty close.
Like
the word Jesus isn't pronounced Jesus. It's Eosus, and it's spelled Ioesus. In English, that's English.
Yeah.
Now we call it Old English because since then we've replaced Old English with the Queen's English, which is what modern King James Bibles are translated into, and what my Geneva Bible is translated into is the Queen's English. And then from there, we got English, which is what British people speak right now, which is a slang version of the Queen's English. And then we have American English, which is
it's a language.
Melting pot
we'll leave it at
language. That. It's just a bunch of languages that we pulled everything together and borrowed from to make a whole different version of English.
It's a something, is what it is.
H. Pod Phoenix says, Canterbury Tales gives me British literature nightmares from college.
Yep.
I agree. Canterbury Tales in the original language will give anyone nightmares. When you hear it spoken, especially, it is terrifying. All Old English is. It's terrifying. Terrifying to hear. At least to me.
It doesn't... It messes with your brain because it's close, but not there. So it feels like an alien trying to speak your language. is
Well,
the
it almost feels like Roman and German and English just like imploded into each other.
I mean, that's basically
It
what
is what it is.
happened.
Right. That's what happened. But it actually sounds like it.
Yeah,
Like
it
when
does.
you're speaking American English and you're borrowing words from, Latin and Spanish and German, you don't actively understand that. But when
Right.
you hear Old English and you know enough
Yeah.
of these Roman and Germanic and languages, and you can actually feel, it's crazy. It's this mishmash of insanity.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, I will agree.
Yeah. All right. So, we may be not having an official night, but we're still gonna get to know the pastors. So, come back. We'll get everybody involved, not just you and me.
I am.
We'll get everybody in the chat involved too.
I can't go any farther from when I babysat Libby. The cage is still in my office, so this is as far as I can escape.
You can't get out of the camera shot.
I can only escape. I didn't think it through,
man.
And then when I got there, I went,
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
Ooh, can I answer for you?
I've got two, but yeah, go ahead.
Walmart, specifically in that little podunk town that was terrible, where the store manager was completely insane and broke all the rules. Yeah. Thank you, H. Puff Phoenix. That's a good point. Libby is a dog. I should clarify that.
We had a cage when we were babysitting.
Thank you,
I didn't
H.
even
Puff
think
Phoenix.
about it. Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
I don't have any people that would be in cages running around. I don't want to try to explain since we have young ones here what any of those terms might be. I would love for you to have to explain that later though, if I used any other terms.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so Biggs asks, paid or unpaid jobs, either, just any job, responsibility that you had. So you're right, but let me, before I say anything further about that, my experience with this employer, Walmart, was my personal experience.
Oh yeah.
And shouldn't be taken as any reflection of judgment or claims against the largest employer in the world who could sue my butt off for ages.
No, and because what's crazy,
have no reflection on the corporation.
And what's crazy about that, I will say, is he's still talking, but we can't hear him. Sorry. We'll give him a second to come back. Are you back now?
Left. I'm still here.
You did. You left right about here.
Did I? Make sure I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I'm not.
So for me, Walmart wasn't my worst job. I loved it. It was great.
Right.
And so when you tried to get a job there, you were like, "Oh, this is going to be good." And I'm like, that's why I said for a bad store manager. Because I worked for a store manager that was awesome.
By the time I was coming to the end of my term at Walmart, it was so bad that I literally would walk in the front door and become so nauseated. The first thing I would do before I clocked in was go throw up. And then I would go clock in. It was bad. It was really, really, really bad. And it wasn't so much the customers. The customers, I mean, they were just normal customers. Yeah, they have needs. Yeah, they're not the brightest sometimes because they'd be like, "Hey, help me find this thing," and I'd be like, "Sure." Pull it off the shelf that we're literally standing next to and hand it to them. Here it is. Um, but yeah, like you said, having a store manager that did everything wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he would literally come around the store with his little cart, pushing his cart around, and give us notes on things that needed to be done. And you do the things on your notes, and then he'd follow up after lunch and spend 10 minutes swearing at you because you did the thing that he told you to do on your notes. And now he's saying, that's wrong. You should never do that. We don't do that here. And I'm like, I literally just did what's in the note that you gave me this morning. Like literally word for word what you wrote in your notes. So that was my Walmart experience. And then
Mm-hmm.
number 2 for me was, and once again, not reflective on the whole corporation, but McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's for 3 days. I worked flipping burgers for 3 days. And by that, I mean, I'm standing here and they want me to flip burgers that are on a surface that I have to bend down like this to get to. And I'm bending down this freezer to pull out meat to put on this thing and then push this button and it goes down, which is supposed to fully cook them, or at least cook them most of the way. And then you're supposed to transfer them to heating trays. But ours didn't quite work right. So after I pushed the button and it went down once, then I had to flip them, literally flip them, and press the button again to cook them again, and then put them in the trays. And ever so often, I would have to cook them a third time because they were literally still pink. Like not even fully thawed yet, pink and hard still after 2 times of using the heated press. And on the third day, when my shift manager came over and wanted to have a conversation about, you're a great employee, and in 6 months, I want to get you into the management training program, and you could make up to $9 an hour. That was the last straw. That was okay. My back hurts constantly. I'm burned all over my arms from this thing. You're talking about a future where I can look forward to maxing out at $9 an hour. I'm done. So,
So I've been
all
sitting
right.
here trying to think, and I've not had any real bad jobs. Um, I've had jobs that had bad situations, but no bad jobs overall. Jobs that turned into bad, but I'd probably have to say it was working for the prison software. That was probably the worst, just
It
because.
wasn't calling Baptist churches to try to get them to send their kids to and acquire the fire. It wasn't the.
No, I don't think it was because the job wasn't bad. The people were just really, really rude to someone who believed the same thing they did, mostly.
Mm.
So no, I don't think that was the job, um, but the just the actual. But that job was bad because of the. It started off being a little bit of micromanagement, and I was like, okay, I'm new, cool. And then after what was it, 4 years, um, it never changed. And so at a certain point, it was like, okay, I'm done. um, and so I moved to Tennessee. um, so yeah,
Zadie says, but that wasn't a job. Is she talking about you, or is she talking about what I said
what
about
you said,
your
because it was,
ministry assignment?
yeah, she's saying what you said. because it was a
No, it was
ministry.
definitely a job.
Yeah. Um,
All right. So Biggs on Twitch says washing big electric cabinets with power wash spraying acid. That sounds terrifying.
how old were you at that point, Biggs? Like, would that even be legal at this point? The kind of acid wash they used back then? Because I know it was like the 1500s.
The 1500s.
Yeah, 18.
Biggs was
So
18.
that was
Wow.
1392. So I mean, yeah, I can see that.
Biggs is not older than the United States of America. Come on, man.
No, but some of his family members might be.
Oh! You would know. You were just spending time with them.
And by the way, just in case you're wondering, the Matt that is joining us, the best, um, he's in the good part, and actually only lives about, a little ways away from here. So it's good because we're gonna start. Oh, he's being mean now.
He is being mean now. He's calling you old.
Because that means that is true. I was born when he was 20, supposedly, but I don't know if vampires, when they have children, they age in the same way.
2000 maybe.
Maybe. Um, so, um, and then H. Puff Phoenix said the same thing you said, but for a different reason. She said McDonald's because of the customers, because she wrote the she was. Can I try that one again? We'll just cut that out in post that we don't do. Um,
We don't do any
we
posts.
don't do any post. But post? No, we're live. We're not playing this game.
This is live, man. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
post.
I forgot. She worked the drive-through most of the time, so she yeah.
Now, on the opposite side, what about good jobs? Like, what's the best job?
That's even harder than worst, because
Is it really?
for me it is, because, and here's the reason why. All of my jobs have ended really, really weirdly, except for Walmart. Actually, Walmart ended because I transitioned out to focus on school. Um, but all of them ended because I chose to, because of the situations, except for one, and that one um is just real bad situation from beginning to end, but I enjoyed the work. Um, so I that one I don't even think I could begin to answer. I love the company I am currently working for because what they do is awesome. Um, Heather, sorry, H. Puff Phoenix said in her message where she currently works. I can't. It's names are
Yep.
hard for me.
Yeah. So when I hear H. Puff Phoenix or read H. Puff Phoenix say that, and hear you say that, I'm like, looking for a raise, huh?
No, my
Where I
eval
work
already.
at now is the best job I've ever had.
No, my eval's already come through. And sadly it was really, really ill, because the healthcare has gone through a rough time with COVID. Let's just say, um,
Imagine.
when your main basis is elective care surgeries, and then elective care surgeries all get canceled for almost a year. Um,
Yeah.
but no, the reason I like the company I currently work for is because they offer a payment program And our medical system is so messed up. We all need payment programs to actually pay for any of our services because none of us can ever afford actual health care. Um,
Yeah.
and it's at 0% interest. The patient doesn't get charged anything extra. The hospital doesn't get charged anything extra, and it doesn't go on anyone's credit score. And I, having been someone who went through bankruptcy because of medical bills, um, I love it because of that. But and Heather loves it because Phoenix loves it because she gets to yell at insurance companies all day. She's great at her job. She and it's really funny because she's really sweet to the patients. They'll if they get through to her, she's like, "Oh well, I'll definitely take care of you. Everything's gonna be fine. Let me put you on a brief hold. Give me just one moment." And then like with like the the people at the clinics, it's like, "Oh yes, we'll definitely. Let me put you on a brief. Let me. We just need to answer a couple. Super sweet." And then she gets on with these insurance companies that aren't paying for medicine that these people need because they're going through kidney failure, and you know, and it's like, yes, but and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what you don't understand is, and like you don't. I don't know what she says 99% of the time because it's it's real sweet, it's real calm, it's real everything's fine, everything's great, and then you just hear from the other just the uptick, and you're like, insurance company said no,
Oh.
and Heather Phoenix is protecting her patients. So,
That's funny.
um,
All right. So for me, I got two again. And I'm going to tell you what the name, the companies are, but I'm going to preface this with it wasn't about the companies for me. And it wasn't about what the companies did. For me, it was being in positions that challenged me and that kept my focus varied and gave me the ability to multitask. I've got this project and I've got this project and I'm trying to balance the time and make sure it's all working, and I've got metrics that I can plug things into and make sure it all balances. And so for me, having all of that to do where I'm not bored and I've got multi things going on. So Chick-fil-A, right? Being the marketing director there, I had to be cashier, I had to be marketing director, I had to be team lead, shift lead, all that at the same time. So basically doing all of the running of the restaurant, not actually being responsible for running the restaurant. That was the actual, franchisee's job. She did a great job, her and her husband. They ran it great. But I was there to do anything that they needed to do while they weren't there. I could step in and do that. And so that was really fulfilling for me. I really liked that, despite how that ended, where I was like, I either need more money and less hours, or I'm going to have to start looking for a different job. And that really poisoned the relationship I had with the franchise owner. She didn't take that in the spirit that it was intended. She took that as an insult or as a leveraging technique, which it really wasn't. I was just being honest. This is what's going on, and I'm going to have to look for a new job. And if I find something, I'll give you 2 weeks notice once I find something. And so everything just went real downhill from there. So despite that ending, and the other job, for all the same reasons that I listed, was when I went back to work for Teen Mania after I left Gateway, or was separated from Gateway, or however you want to say that. I went back to work for Teen Mania, And while that was a brief time, because that ship was already sinking, it really, did all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple fires and had to juggle and, all that stuff. So that was what it was for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do we go from here?
Well, so I don't know. How was your week? We haven't even done this part yet.
Oh man. Well, I got my desks in,
Mm-hmm.
and then realized, well, I had enough space for the desks. I didn't make enough space for me in my chair. So then I had to get a little creative in the way that I put in the desks.
I thought you
Um,
measured that first.
I didn't measure me. I
Oh.
measured the space. And I was like, well, this gives me space to walk in and out, but I
Okay.
didn't consider the size of my chair and the size of me sitting in the chair and doing this and all of that. So I had to rearrange it a little bit. But I got 2 desks, so I have a little L shape going on.
Mm-hmm.
And those are working great. And then I got these lovely shelves this week.
Mm-hmm.
This is my Father's Day present from my wife. I went on to Amazon and I was like, sent her a list. And I said, I like this and I like this. And she was like, those are only shelves. And I was like, yeah, but they're 2 different kind of shelves. You get to pick which one. So I opened those yesterday and put those up so I could, put all my stuff on it. And you can't see all the stuff on it, but bottom shelf is knickknacks, and then the next shelf is a few knickknacks and the religious books that I reference from time to time. One of them is the complete collections of Smith Wigglesworth, which I really like. My Geneva Bible, and then the other one, I don't really agree with everything that she teaches, but it's the complete collections of Maria Woodworth Etter. I like to reference it sometimes just to get an opposing viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that she's unbiblical in her beliefs. It's just that theologically we don't always agree,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not a problem for me. All that does is challenge me to find, what I actually believe and why I believe it, which is good. And then my third shelf, I love this. This is a 50th anniversary edition TARDIS, Doctor Who TARDIS, that my wife got me. It used to be a bauble that made noise, but Finnick made sure that it would never do that anymore. And then I've got a couple of Doctor Who books from the Time Lord Victoria series that I still need to read, but reading has become an issue lately. And then I've got A Princess of Mars, which is the beginning of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Barsoom series. And then I've got At the Earth's Core, which is the beginning of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Pellucidar series. And then I've got the ever life-shattering Lungbarrow, which is the Doctor Who book that came out in the 80s that redefined the canon of Doctor Who and forever shaped Doctor Who lore, and everything has built upon that since then. Even the new twists that they've released in Doctor Who in these recent seasons have been inspired by this novel, which, last I checked, there were only a few copies of that left, and the cheapest you could get one for was $107. 7 dollars. 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 highly sought after book. It's hard to find. I'm going to check.
While he searches.
Cheapest you can get it in paperback right now is $200.
Nice.
So, got that up there on the top of my shelf. And when I asked for it, it was one of those shoot for the moon, requests. And then my mom found one for like $20.
Mm.
And got it for me. And I was like, I didn't expect that to ever. Okay. Awesome. That was one of those shoot for the moon requests. I had no idea.
I think you even cried a little.
I definitely did.
I mean, not to front you, but I'm pretty sure you did.
Oh, I definitely did.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, leave it to Grams. My mama. She's something else. So. Let's show you the book, because it looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. All right. So that's what happened this week with me. A lot of labor. And then I had to go through my filing cabinet and get rid of everything that I had, I have hoarder tendencies. So I went through my filing cabinet and threw away a 13-gallon trash bag worth of stuff from my filing cabinet. And it's just a 3-drawer cabinet. It's literally sitting underneath this desk right here. And is only like 14 inches wide. But it was stuffed to the brim with things. And it is not anymore.
You have to purge every now and then. It is very important. Yeah. I learned that at a certain point in life, and I don't like it at all, not even a little. And I'm really, 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 really bad at it.
Yeah.
But my loving wife Zadie is much better at it than I am, and
now it's time for an IRS audit. Biggs on Twitch, why? Why would you say this thing? And what would they audit?
Yeah.
I don't have enough money to spend enough money to make an audit last more than a few minutes. I don't even know what they would be auditing. I'd be like, here you go. Here's all my printouts for the year. Yes, it's only 24 pages. That is all the bank statements for the whole year. Here you go.
It is true.
You just throw it all away. Well, everything's digital now. I mean, you don't throw away receipts. They're all digital. Well, stores are like, would you like a receipt? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure my bank statement's just going to tell me what you charged me. So.
Yep.
Unless I'm buying it from someplace that I think I might need to return this at some point, then I don't need your piece of tree. You can just save that. And
I like the email option, and then it goes to my email, and then I don't look at it ever, and forget to clean that email out.
It bugs me when I go to Sam's, and all I buy is like, what's the word? Consumables. All I buy is consumables. So it's not something I'm going to bring back. And you get to the cash register, and they're like, would you like a printed receipt? Or would you like it printed and emailed? So either way, I'm going to have to take a receipt.
Well, would you like me to tell you why?
I would like to explain. Yeah, somebody needs to explain to me why they scan the receipt and a couple of your items at the door.
Oh no, that's just for uh, are you walking out with something verification. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual reason for certain receipting and how the receipting is done. So the government actually dictates how receipts have to look and in what ways you can share them. And depending on what you can buy, depends on how the receipt has to look. So like places that sell gift cards and things like that, their receipts have to have specific language on them depending on the state and federal government. And so because of that, it's certain states require a printed receipt. So some companies just print the receipt every time because it's cheaper than trying to figure out, are you a consumer from that state? It's not a requirement based on where you're at. It's a requirement based on where you are a current resident. And so because of that, it's very uh interesting.
Biggs is like, bored now.
You can think 2 states for that, but I'm not going to name them because they're mean.
Hmm.
And you can think money launderers.
Juneteenth is a federal holiday now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Friday. They voted. No, Thursday. They officially voted to make Juneteenth a federal holiday, and then this year it was observed on Friday, but celebrated Saturday. And so all federal buildings were closed on Friday. All businesses that observe federal holidays were supposed to be closed on Friday.
Huh.
And I thought, I never want to be the white savior guy. That's not who I am. I'm an ally.
Right.
I'm a friend. I will back you up. You call the play, and I'll be there. You say Black Lives Matter and we need representation. I'm the guy that goes, you tell me what my responsibility is to back you up. I'm there. I'm not the guy going around going, you're not representing them correctly. That's not me. I'm the ally. I'm the, you tell me what I'm supposed to be doing to back you up. I'm there. And I thought this was a good thing. I thought, finally, the federal government is recognizing Juneteenth. And if you don't know what Juneteenth is, it is the day that the slave owners in Texas officially received word 2 years after the freeing of the slaves that slavery was now illegal in the United States of America and had to set their slaves free. And I said had to because that's actually how it went down. They were not willingly setting them free in Texas. There were other states that willingly, Texas, that was not a thing. Texas, they had to be forced. So Juneteenth is this landmark beginning of this march to equality. Some people say it's 2 years early when it started, but saying you need to set all your slaves free isn't really the actual start. It's the point where all of that is actually enforced. Is where it starts. So to me, Juneteenth is the beginning of that march to equality. But I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok where, like I said, I'm an ally. You tell me where to go. And I've seen a lot of videos where a lot of people in the what are we supposed to say now? Is it black or African
Just say
American?
community. In that community.
Okay, that community. I'm
not sure, and so I don't want to say it wrong. Let me be clear on why. It really depends on preference of the person you're talking to.
Due respect to who it's due. I want to be respectful. They feel like it's pandering. I've seen a lot of videos where they feel like this is just pandering. And I get that. I see their point of view. And if that's what if that's the overwhelming consensus, like I said, I'm an ally, I'll back you up. But I saw it as a recognition of the beginning of the march toward equality. And so I was happy for it. So if somebody wants to email me, if you're hearing this or seeing this, somebody wants to email me and tell me how to support it and how to follow through, or if I should just ignore it. Because like with the Black History Month thing,
Hmm.
for years I felt like that was pandering. I felt like
Well, there are some
we need
people.
more.
Go
I
ahead.
felt like
Sorry.
we need holidays all
Hmm.
year long that celebrate Black history, not cram everything into one month and
Hmm.
go, well, this is everything that, but it needs to be spread out over all year long.
Yeah.
All year long. We need to give recognition to the pioneers that um, made this country what it is,
Hmm.
that aren't white. We should be doing that all year long. It shouldn't be 1 month. And then, I shared a video um, on TikTok of an interview that Morgan Freeman gave
Hmm.
where he said the exact same thing. And I was like, that's how I felt about this
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
And I'm an
It's
ally. I'm
it.
not the black savior.
No,
I'm not the
we're
white
not trying to
savior.
that. No.
I'm not
Um.
going out there and trying to fix the world's ills for everybody else. And so when he said that, I was like, hey, I can share that because I agree with that. And now, someone in this community is actually
Yep.
saying it.
Yep.
So the 19th is Biggs asks, because the 18th, the date for Juneteenth. The 19th is, but when federal holidays fall on a Saturday, they are observed on a Friday. When they fall on a Sunday, they are observed on a Monday.
Yep. The the when I first heard about Juneteenth, it made me sick. The fact that
Yeah.
we did, that, and I say we, I don't mean we as white people. I don't mean we as, you know, Texas.
As
That
a
I'm no longer.
proud Texan,
I say
it has
we
shamed me.
as Americans. We as humans
Mm. Yeah.
continued to do that. Always just makes me
Well, I mean,
sick.
it makes me sick that we had slaves as Americans
Yeah.
at all. Like the whole spirit of founding America was freedom.
Yeah.
And then
And
we
then
literally
yeah.
did the opposite. What we should have done when the Spanish ships showed up full of slaves, we should have bought them and made them freemen, all in one motion. We should have bought them and sent the Spaniards away and said, "Go get us, if go buy more people that have already been put into slavery, bring them back. We'll buy them from you, and we'll make them citizens." That's what we should
I
have done.
I will actually take it a step further because you're a nicer person than I am. I wouldn't do it that way. I would buy them all, get them off the boat, and then magically that boat would disappear.
But that doesn't help with everyone in Spain that's already
I know.
in
The
slavery.
yeah, and it, yeah, there's a lot of gray area in that whole situation
Because I mean,
because
the Spaniards were going to Africa. The African tribes were stealing people from other tribes and then selling them to the Spaniards. Then the Spaniards were going back to Spain and putting them into the slave trade. And then the people that were commerce minded were buying up a bunch of slaves and then bringing them over to the colonies, and selling them to the Americans.
it's messed up how the whole situation. Human beings are terrible. We live in a fallen world, and human beings do terrible things to other human beings every day, and it's absolutely disgusting that we
It
do it.
is.
Um,
Um,
and I say that not as someone who's like, it's disgusting. I can't believe anyone would ever do that. Because there was a time in my life where I did some pretty terrible things, and so it's one of those things where it's like, I feel terrible for the terrible things I've done. I was a bully at one point. I was bullied. I've been through lots of the different parts of the cycle. um, And they're all terrible because we are terrible to each other for some crazy reason that I've never fully understood.
And every year when we celebrate July 4th, and inevitably there's someone from that community that has issue with celebrating freedom when, as that freedom happened, there were slaves in this country that weren't set free. At the same time, I feel like that's valid and also not valid. Like, yeah, not everybody was free. That's a problem. And it was fixed and shouldn't have been taken time to fix it. It should have been fixed right away.
Mm.
But I want us all to celebrate that now we're free. Now. But that's my personal feeling.
I mean, we could definitely get into the wage slavery conversation, but we won't today because we're already
okay.
But
that's not.
I said we're
a
not.
Whole class of people indenturing a whole other class of people, or race of people, rather.
Race, I'll agree with. Class is exactly what's going on.
Class is exactly. That's not a whole race of people indenturing a whole other race of people.
Yes, it is classism.
There are still problems.
Yes, there are still problems.
I get that. I'm not going to argue against that. There are still problems.
And we should seek to continue to make it better.
I'm an ally, not a savior. So
no.
All right, so we're out of time for this episode for this night. So unless you have anything else you want to add, or unless anyone else has anything they want to contribute on chat, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Ow. I cut my hand at some point this week, just ever so slightly. And I keep doing things that just like barely touch it, and it makes it hurt.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know how I cut it. Anyway, all right. So now we're going to do the 30-second buffer because some of our streaming services require it before we hit the button. Otherwise, it'll cut off what we're saying now.
Yep.
So we're gonna sing a little song. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer. Has it been 30 seconds yet? Of course not. That's not how time works. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer. I think that's enough singing now. We love you guys. Have a great week. You say your thing now, Nooms.
You guys be safe, please. Love you guys.
And until next time.